I stir it with a bamboo skewer.
Okay. And what's the
Because-
ratio? Is it just like a drop of the iridescent in there, or you
Just
just
depends on
vary
the
it
effect.
depending on the effect?
I put it in, mix it, and said, oh, is that what I want? I'm very, when I used to do pastels, people would ask me what colors I used. I'd say, I have no idea. I reached and did it.
Oh, me too. So,
Yeah, so I'm not a formula person. I cannot even tell you the percentage. If I can get this out of here, this is the basic skin tone I use that leaked out on the way over here. Oh, there it goes. But I remembered paper towels. Thanks to Diane the other day. So ordinarily, when I'm doing a skin tone, I try and mix my basic, I have more scratching done, so there's more white. And I mix my basic colors, I'll thin down ampersand or Liquitex. But with these little guys, and I wanted to demonstrate the use of the zinc white with it, these are the colors I use, and all I put on is just a little tint for you to get the idea. I don't know if y'all can even see it. On the light areas. The reason I don't want to do much more of that part today before I do more scratching is the amount of the acrylic, fluid acrylics that I have in there. If I put more layers on, it's going to be pretty hard to scratch. But these are the colors that I used. Another point I want to point out about that I discovered. If you know the pigment colors, with my yellow ochre golden, and it says PY43, that's a true yellow ochre, which means it's basically opaque. Whereas with the Liquitex that I got, well, their marketing is excellent. If their ink is transparent, it says it. But just by looking at the numbers, the PY42 and the PR101, and checking back on my Liquitex chart, I know that these are not true. They are synthetic, which means they're transparent. And my gosh, can you get beautiful things with transparent earth tones. You can layer them on your trees, you can layer them over your scratching and work back through them so well. And that's basically, I lean heavily on those two for skin tones, for the basic ones, and then I'll lighten up as I get close to the finished product.
Which two are those again?
The ones that are transparent? Okay, I'll show
The
them.
two that you rely on the most?
The transparent burnt sienna and transparent raw sienna from Liquitex.
Okay, thank you.
Now this board I brought, I started this last year on the workshop and threw it in a drawer. I had it to beyond an ugly point. But I thought, well, I used enough different mediums on it, and it's going to take a lot of work. But I can play with it a little bit today, and it's not going to hurt anything. You know, if it gets worse, it gets worse. Otherwise, I'll have something I like. And this was my cat Bernie. And as I told you all last year, the little fairy sitting on the tree tormenting him, I based on my little Pekingese. So it's time for me to stop talking and do a little something. Oh, before I do that though, I need to show you the colored pencils. Okay. On this chart, I didn't do one to show y'all. These are just the different acrylic inks and how well they lay over each other. As you can see, the ampersand and the Liquitex, there's no problem. I put them on pretty heavily. You can do them more transparently. But there are two things I kind of deliberately bunged up on for a point. I wanted to show you how with the ampersand, you can still manipulate it when it's almost dry and lighten it a little bit, or smear it a little bit. I put on the FW pretty thickly, because the one thing you really have to watch for, or I really have to watch for, is I pour stuff in my boards. And just like watercolor, you can manipulate it when it's wet, you can manipulate it when it's dry. If you get too close to it being dry and try to work on it, you have a mess. With the acrylic inks, you have it on thick, you don't let it get completely dry, you end up with ridges and spots and all kinds of messes.